you've been hearing myself and Representative Sands and others talk about our belief that we need to make sure we get the coupling bill done in House File 2092. We think that's important. So you've been hearing about it in a very theoretical fashion, and I guess you're probably used to actually hearing from us about tax policy and tax code. So today we wanted to take the opportunity to actually have you hear from people that are directly affected by this. So it goes well beyond just the theoretical standpoint, and you can hear personally how this affects folks, because we have very real decisions to make before us, and it will affect them.
I'm Kathleen Reeson, and I own Measure Attention marketing firm here in town, and I also own two of the Farrell's Extreme Body Shaping franchises, the one in Beaverdale and the one in Milwaukee, and then the martial arts program. And I'll tell you, my story starts in 2014. I have 3 boys, and 2 of my oldest, they were in the martial arts program. I ran Measure Attention, so my husband had a full-time job. He worked out at Meredith, and my boys loved martial arts, and I knew the program was for sale, and I knew it was going to have a big impact on a lot of kids. And so we decided to invest in it. We decided to get that program. And so we bought those. And in 2014, our 2015 taxes we filed last year, it was a really great benefit to have that 179. The money that we did use from our purchase of the equipment and the gyms, that money that we used, we then took and we invested in a lot more programs. We upped the facilities. We actually invested in a whole new group. That's how we got into our Waukee facility as well. So we used that quite a bit, and we made more investments. And now as we look at our taxes this year, to find out in January that we probably won't have the dollars that we thought we would. I'm looking at, I've got 3 kids and I've got $16,000 in an additional tax bill that I wasn't expecting. So while that may not sound like a ton of money, to us, it's a huge amount. So I've got to look at alternatives there. So as we look at this tax bill, coupling is a huge deal, and I look at about 8% on every $100,000 that we invested. That's what we're now going to have to pay in. So you can see that those numbers are real and they add up very quickly. So I ask you, it's a huge impact on local businesses, and please consider coupling.
Hi everybody, I'm Laura Cunningham, and I'm a young farmer from north central Iowa. My husband and I own a cattle farm, and we also work for his dad's family farm near us. He's got a row crop, and we bring in the livestock end. And my story also starts back in 2014. We unfortunately had a large fire on our farm. The grain dryer caught on fire and was totaled in the process. And to give context, the grain dryer is a piece of equipment that's used to ready grain to be stored. So until we're ready to take it to market, this is the machine we use to make sure that the grain can be stored safely. So as we turned to 2015, we had to wait until the turn of the calendar year because the insurance agency didn't get out to take their measurements and evaluation until after the turn of the year. Made the decision we have to build this grain dryer. It's a key part of our row crop farm. Made the decision also at that time to invest in the more expensive piece of equipment, knowing it was more energy efficient. We always try to make those decisions when feasible and when possible, and at that point in our planning, we were able to make that decision, and we're happy to do so. As we get to the end of the year, we find out that one of the key pieces of legislation that we use in planning on capital investments on that is maybe not going to be there if the state of Iowa doesn't couple. So for my farm family alone, it's like asking us to write a check for $62,000 in taxes. So for one farm family to be able to swallow that in a time when the farm economy isn't at its best, that's a lot to take on for one. And I'm sure I'm not the only farm family example, but it's definitely hitting home for me if the Senate doesn't act on this piece of legislation.
I'm Dan Rickles, farmer from Jones County, Iowa. I'm a small to medium-sized farmer. I've been using Section 179 every year because it's been available. In the spring of 2015, the cattle market was quite well. So I did buy a new tillage piece of equipment, which cost quite a bit of money. It's supposed to help with the nutrient reduction plan because there'll be less tillage. Of course, then by the time fall came, cattle market bottom fell out of it. In case you don't know, we're getting about $700 a head less in the fall than we got in the spring for the same animal. Now, when it came time to pay my bills at the end of the year, I had to seal corn to the ASC office because I was at the limit of operating one at the bank. And this, now, if this does not couple, it'll cost me several $1,000s just to come up with the tax to pay for this piece of equipment, which was after the fact. I could have planned differently with if we had known, but it's always been part of the plan before. When I buy equipment, that spurs a lot of jobs. It's helps the economy.
Hi there, my name is Wendy Garden. I'm a first grade teacher. Quite nervous, you're a little older and much more intimidating than my usual audience. But to me, this impacts me, but more so it impacts our students. I only get a $250 tax credit. I spend thousands in a year in my classroom. $250 doesn't sound as much as you wonderful small business owners and farmers, but what it does send is a message to my fellow educators. We don't feel supported. We don't feel appreciated right now. Our job is so important, and everything the state is asking us to do, raising expectations, increasing rigor, and it should, definitely. But we need the tools, and we need to be able to support ourselves and our students.
I'd like to thank each of these folks for being here today, taking time out of their day to join us, and hopefully it's been able to display just some portion of Iowans who are going to be affected by this. There are other people in the room, and I'm sure you can visit with them and ask questions as we move forward. This is an important issue, we believe, because of the timing. For one thing, it does pull the rug out from under folks. It is a tax increase that people were not anticipating. And we're very pleased today that the governor will be supporting House File 2092. And in looking through the budget, as I said earlier, he had a budget that was due sooner than what the feds had decided. So in his review of doing that, he clearly sees a path where we can fund priorities, fund education, and still go ahead and offer this opportunity to Iowans to continue to create those opportunities that Iowans had anticipated. And if in fact we're not able to do this moving forward, to give people warning ahead of